Call it.
Sir?
You're on assessment, rookie. Call it.
Oh, hope you're good under pressure, Cassandra. It's a trial by fire. Gunfire. This is like having your driver's test end with, okay, now escape from the police. She calls for gas grenades to clear the stairs, but the gang is gathered in front of the med center. Well, Dredd gives them a chance to disperse, but they don't realize this guy's name is the title of the movie, or that he's tossed a futuristic flashbang into the room. They take out all but one, but as Dredd notes, attempted murder of a judge is a capital offense, so Cassandra finally plants the one survivor. No chance his lawyer is reversing that on appeal. Well, Dredd finds the medic unwilling to let him in, saying that as a medical facility, this place is neutral ground in this fight. Or in other words, he doesn't much feel like being a magnet for the entire fucking Mama gang to try to get in and kill them. The thing about a solid knowledge of anatomy is knowing in detail what the horrible things people do to a human body results in, and he's fine with keeping that just theoretical. So Dredd gives Cassandra the bad news. They're going to have to figure out how to survive in here without a place that can be fortified and defended. Which sounds bad, but wait, it gets worse. There's a gang coming this way and no place to hide except one of the apartments, and no way to get in without drawing attention. Unless, of course, you can read minds. Candygram. Well, isn't she surprised that the two most wanted people in this building have just tricked her into letting them inside? Lucky for her, they're not vampires, too. What makes this situation worse for Cassandra is this woman has a baby, so she can't just be tied up. Oh, and also, the guy executed appears to be the father. I think we ought to just keep that one to ourselves. She seems to be having a bad enough day already. Cassandra gets useful information that the service elevator that says it's busted actually works. It only works for going to the upper levels, which helps them by giving them a path Mama's forces won't expect. And it helps her because it means they'll get the hell out. Yellow Shirt tells Mama that the goons are only serving as bonus points right now, but with the war override, she can have them sealed in for the big moment. Dredd goes off, telling her one thing she may want to think about is whether or not, if things go bad, to be taken alive. Kay agrees that that would be a bad thing. In fact, now that Dredd is gone, Kay thinks it's a great time to start monologuing about women and girls the clan get their hands on. About mutants. Generally, this is like his version of social media. He has an opinion, and to hell with all of you, he's not afraid to share it in all its ugliness. Well, Mama's actions appear to have drawn in an audience, but then again, she's got something pretty special in mind. That's right, some kind of Gatling gun. The one you famously see in Predator and Terminator 2 that inspired everybody to start using them is the M134, modified so you can hold it, as the minigun is meant to be fired from things like, say, a helicopter, since its incredibly high rate of fire, 100 rounds a second, is good if you're trying to swoop into position, fire quickly, and get the duck out of Fodge. The M134 uses the NATO 7.62, not to be confused with the one that fits the AK-47, which is commonly used in machine guns like the M60 that Walter White used in the final episode of Breaking Bad. But it's also used in things like the Remington MSR, MSR standing for Modular Sniper Rifle, which should tell you that it's around for taking out people. So really, the famous Hollywood minigun, for all its flying lead, is really just a jazzed up anti-personnel machine gun. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end, obviously, but really, you could replace it with a Vector SS-77. We saw one of those mounted on a helicopter in District 9 when it also uses the NATO 7.62. And in this situation, it would probably have the same effect. Except that that's not what they're going for in this film. No, we have greater ambitions than that, so they upped it to a 50 cal, which is so much more powerful that there used to be an urban legend that it was a violation of the Geneva Convention to deliberately use a 50 cal on a human. It's the ideal choice if you're taking out things rather than people, let's put it that way. Well, that's the kind of firepower this movie wants. Now, there is a minigun version of that caliber. It's the GAU 19/A, only it's a 3-barrel design, not like the M34's, which has 6 barrels. Now, there's something more intimidating about the 6 barrels over the 3. I don't know why the GAU 19/A doesn't have 6 barrels too. Oh, it's probably those stupid engineers pointing out that the 3 extra barrels are made of metal, which is heavy, and maybe minimalism is preferable to aesthetics when you're trying to stop a group of APCs coming over the hill. But being a film, they wanted the aesthetics more, and fair enough to them. It's a visual medium, not an attempt to stop the Ruskies. So the film crew created a scaled-up M134 so it could work like a GAU 19/A. The badass look of Predator, but chambered with stuff that penetrates even some armor. Yeah, I don't talk about knitting, but I will talk about stuff that will kill you. Swords, miniguns, and of course, chocolate. Oh, there's some fucking pure imagination for you. Mama's people, and even Mama herself, blast the shit out of the place. There's no hiding in your homes. That crap will come chomping right through the walls. All Dredd can do is run for it. He catches up with Cassandra, sees the exterior wall is weakened, and uses a high explosive to blast open a hole to escape. Gnarly. Meanwhile, yeah, you're not getting your security deposit back now, sorry.
They're not dead till we find him dead.
That's a man who knows what genre this is. Now that they're outside, Dredd can call in their situation and request some backup, but they can't wait out here. If the gang comes, they'll have no place to fall back to. Even if they use the skate ramp as effective cover, they've already exhausted a bit of ammo. It's not like a video game, after all. The dead gang members won't have universal ammunition that can be looted. They have to go back inside. Staying a step ahead of the Mama clan is their best option, especially if they try that more DACA thing again. Still, Dredd decides to make a point of his own. Saved a bullet there. He went by in a blur, but that was Mama's lieutenant, so it's a strong declaration. You did all that, and all you did was lose one of your top men, while I'm fine. Of course, that's the only way to be after that. There are only 2 categories, unmarked survivors and human colanders. He's also done with Kay. He knows that kind of attack wasn't simply because 2 judges were here. Kay knows something. Punching and choking him doesn't work, but Cassandra thinks that she can get it out of him her way. This leads to a great little scene. It'd be easy and simple to say she just gets it out of his head. That's what happens a lot. Writers need tools to move things to where they're needed to continue the story. You need to make it progress in a way the audience will accept, though. If the characters wonder who is the leader of the cartel, and then a nearby telephone rings, they answer and then hang up saying, "The head of the cartel is Enrico Palazzo." That's a terrible tool, unless it's either a comedy or it's a tool that has mind-boggling additional dimensions to it. By additional dimensions on a tool, what I mean is that it doesn't just solve the problem of giving information and or moving the characters where they're needed. The tool also does something else, which is often a good idea. Say I have a figure show up and tell the character the information to then move the story. The tool needs to do more than that. It can be a shadowy figure, one whose identity adds mystery to the story that will pay off later. Or it can be a known figure, and the question is how they know this. Or there is no question. There is revelation about character through this meeting. In the case of our telephone ringing out of nowhere and giving the characters the answer, this could be a neuromancer-like situation, where Wintermute is calling up because the characters are, knowingly or unknowingly, advancing the AI's agenda. If they don't know that yet, it's a mystery. If they do, it's a reminder that they are the pawns in an AI's game. With that in mind, no pun intended, let's take this back to the mind reading. Sometimes that in and of itself can be enough, as mind reading is fantastical and shows how the story can operate laterally at times because the usual walls don't apply here. But in this case, the decision is to have the tool of psychic ability gain 2 additional dimensions to it. First, character. It's insight into Cassandra and how she can see the world, which differs from the rookie judge that she has been playing so far in this film. Second, thriller. This is a literal battle of wills here as she tries to get him to give up the answer to her.